Welcome back, everybody, and the time is 19 minutes before 9 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. Thanks very, very much for being with us. So, people around the world, including governments, have been requested to answer the call to beat plastic pollution. This as we mark World Environment Day today. It's estimated that 100,000 marine animals are killed by plastics each year, and by 2050 there will be more plastic by weight than fish in the ocean. I mean, just try and comprehend that. To discuss this, we are joined from our Pretoria studio by the Minister of Environmental Affairs, Edna Molewa, and from our Cape Town studios, we've got John Duncan, who is the Worldwide Fund South Africa's head of marine programs. So let me welcome both of you to the program. Minister, firstly, thank you very, very much for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. And John, also to you.
Good morning to your viewers.
Thank you very much. John, you as well. Thank you so much for being with us. Minister, to begin with you, what action is government actually taking against the use of plastics, especially with regard to the impact on our oceans?
Well, we're using firstly this day to make our people aware. The awareness campaign is a very great one this time around. We're saying, let everyone move and really ensure that you contribute to minimizing plastic and finally eradicating it completely, the existence and littering in particular of a plastic in whatever form. So what government is doing is that from a point of view of awareness, yes, but secondly, in practical terms, we are going to be ensuring that we continue where the former Minister Vali Musa left, engaging with industry and reviewing our policy on plastic. Remember, we had a policy on our approach to the plastic carriers only. This time around, we are reviewing the entire plastic value chain, ensuring that we actually respond to this. The microbeads that are in cosmetics, we're engaging the industry to ensure that they find alternatives, because even that is actually very bad already in the oceans and affecting our life in the marine space, which is actually something that we are very dependent on land and surface. The entire globe depends on life in the marine area. So with regards to the plastic ones, the carriers and the straws and so forth, there will be continuation of saying, as we evaluate, has there been a difference made by ensuring that the policy of manufacturing thicker plastic bags, carrier bags, that ensures that people reuse and reuse that kind of plastic and not throw them away? Has it worked? We are beginning to see that there's been an emergence of thinner plastics in the industry, and therefore we want to understand whether it comes from the current industry operating in South Africa or from external. That's why we're working with DTI and other bodies within the trade and industry and our COCTA department to ensure that we fill up this space and understand. DTI will help us to actually ensure that there is no movement of any other thinner plastic bag.
I mean, I've noticed that, and I'm sure that a lot of other viewers have. Minister, I'm just going to have to bring John in, but I have certainly noticed that. I mean, if I go shopping, it depends on what I buy, and I don't quite understand it. Sometimes I'll have to pay for a packet, and other times I'm given these thin packets that everything is put in, so it's quite strange. But John, from hearing what the Minister is saying, are you a lot more confident that we can, as a country, get to grips with government policies helping to eradicate this, I think we can call it a scourge of plastic?
Yeah, I think the challenge of plastic is not just a kind of a national one. I think internationally everyone recognizes this as a problem, hence the kind of World Environmental Day theme. And I think that it's fantastic to see government taking a stance and starting to move in this direction. What's also really exciting is that I think business is starting to understand that they need to be part of the solution as well. This morning, I think Woolworths launched some really exciting packaging commitments, which aim to get all of their packaging either reusable or recyclable by 2022. and it'd be really great to see some of the other kind of retailers following suit and making similar commitments. So I think we're starting to get there, but you need to recognize that as it stands, somewhere around 80% of plastic is not being recycled. So there's a long way to go, and I think most importantly is that consumers have a big role to play here, both in upping their game in terms of recycling and also putting a bit of pressure back up the chain on the businesses above them to make sure that the plastics that they are getting are able to be recycled, or ideally actually alternatives are found so we don't have to use those plastics in certain cases.
I mean, there certainly are plastics that we desperately need, and I mean there's no getting around it, but some of them are completely unnecessary, and I bring straws into it because I know there's a big campaign to try and get rid of straws, because you know I was in China recently and they basically do not offer you any straws whatsoever. If you want a straw, you've got to kind of find one, and for us we still give straws and those straws get thrown away. But I mean, the eradication of this is a big thing. Minister, when can we get rid of these unnecessary plastics by? If I may ask you to respond quickly, we're running out of time at a fast rate.
This is exactly why I'm saying, Leanne, that we are evaluating the entire plastic area, even the straws, by the way. There could be alternatives, but the straws of plastic right now, there is a very strong possibility we are moving there to actually ban them. But we'll advise those who are manufacturing straws, creating jobs in our country, to actually find alternatives. There are paper straws that people use, or any other alternative that's not plastic. But this one, it's definitely a no-no as we see it already, even before we conclude the reviewing of our policy. The microbeads, for instance, that are in cosmetics, that as well. There's got to be an alternative that's found. That's why we're engaging the industry right now. But from our government, Leah, let me also say that we ourselves are promoting recycling. We are right now contributing money, 194 million rand, for those who want to actually recycle this plastic, so that we don't just say don't do it, whatever plastic is there, let's reuse it. We actually are contributing. We have in Ekurhuleni next, just in a short space of time from now, the president will be launching a program, and it's not a project, by the way, it's a program, a whole program, because it's about campaigning throughout our lifetimes to keep South Africa clean, to remove plastics, to ensure that we don't have litter lying around generally, but with the major message will also still be around plastic and recycling, reusing. We're building the material recovery centers, the buyback centers, which are support infrastructure for people who want to recycle and actually ensure that we have a circular economy.
All right, Minister, we have to leave it there, but thank you very, very much. I mean, I think we're just touching the surface here with both of our guests. We'll have to revisit this once again. Our Minister of Environmental Affairs, Edna Molewa, as well as John Duncan, who is the Worldwide Fund South Africa head of Marine Programme, talking about plastic, the eradication of plastic in South Africa and our societies that are polluting our oceans. Today is World Environmental Day. Let's take a break.